Is Star Wars fandom really that much different now than it was in the past? It's hard to tell. The world didn't have social media when Ewoks were on the screen in 1983. You couldn't instantly shove your digital face in the digital face of someone involved with the production of the thing and give them a piece of your mind. If social media existed in 1999 when The Phantom Menace came out, we would have heard the same stuff we hear today. Comparing the venom in today's fandom to yesterday's fandom is kind of like comparing professional football stats from the 1930s to 2018. The world is just different. The world is just louder. Because of the sequel trilogy, we're kind of able to see the start of a trend in the Star Wars fandom. A trend that can be applied to not just Star Wars, but anything. Music, movies, art, attitude, politics, fashion, anything. Generational trends, generational changes. What's interesting about Star Wars is that for me, for the folks who primarily grew up with the original trilogy, the prequels kind of left a sour taste in a lot of our mouths. They didn't feel right. Our Star Wars was that, and this over here, this didn't feel like that. And then with this new sequel trilogy, most of the people that I know who feel the same way I did about the prequels are really enjoying this sequel trilogy. It felt more like home to a lot of us. You start off loving something from your youth, you push against the new stuff a bit, grow up a little bit, accept the newest stuff. It's kind of interesting, the cycle. But the people who primarily grew up with the prequel trilogy are now old enough to have a voice and defend the movies that they grew up with, that they loved. And at the same time, a lot of them look at the new movies in the sequel trilogy the same way that I look at the prequel trilogy, and are saying, hey, our Star Wars is that, and this over here, this isn't that. The same kind of stuff that my generation was doing. Will this cycle go on forever? I mean, my niece and nephews, all of them, have told me their favorite Star Wars movies are the new ones, The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. They're all between the ages of like 5 and 13, I think. I'm guessing you first saw your favorite Star Wars movie somewhere in that age range too, right? Eventually my nieces and nephews will be old enough to defend the movies that they like whenever they hear someone putting them down. And if Star Wars continues to pump out more movies and trilogies for another generation or two, those generations will be in the same boat. It's an interesting cycle. Enjoyment of the thing, defending the thing, rejection of the new, grow up, I guess, and be a little more open and accepting, recognizing that the newer generation is gonna enjoy the newer stuff. So if you're scrolling around on Twitter being an asshole to anyone who has the most basic positive thing to say about a movie that you don't like, just realize you're not doing anything new. It's a cycle that's probably gone on forever and ever in every single medium with every single generation that's ever existed on planet Earth. And it'll go on forever until Star Wars eventually stops. Also realize that in about 15 years or so, there's gonna be an army of kids now old enough to have a voice. And yes, I realize there are always exceptions to trends. There are outliers. No shit. It's been kind of fun to see this YouTube channel evolve with, I don't know, my attitude and personality over the past 7 years that I've been doing this. Older, more mature, not an angry dummy. You guys have directly seen the cycle that I was talking about in this video. Defense, rejection, acceptance. It's kind of neat. The only thing that really gets under my skin to this day is the special edition changes. I'm not mad anymore. I've learned to be patient, and I'm waiting.